This couple didn't just escape slavery, they outsmarted an entire system built to keep them captive. William and Ellen Craft were married, but enslaved. Ellen was light-skinned enough to pass as white, so they came up with a plan so bold it sounded impossible. She disguised herself as a sick, wealthy white man, arm in a sling, face wrapped in bandages. William played the role of her attentive slave. In December 1848, they boarded trains, stayed in hotels and traveled openly through the South, riding straight past danger. Every mile was a risk. One wrong word, one curious glance, and they'd be torn apart. But they stayed in character and kept moving. After 4 tense days, they reached Philadelphia. Free. But their story didn't end there. They became outspoken abolitionists, fighting to end the system that once tried to own them. William and Ellen Craft didn't just run, they performed their freedom and won. She was born into chains, but refused to live in them. She suffered a head injury as a child that caused lifelong seizures and visions, but she believed those visions were divine guidance. Harriet Tubman was enslaved, beaten, and nearly killed. But she didn't break. In 1849 she escaped, and then she went back. Again and again, she returned to the South, risking death each time, not to free herself, but to free others. Armed with nothing but courage and faith, she led more than 70 people to freedom using the Underground Railroad, a secret network of routes and safe houses. But she didn't stop there. During the Civil War, Harriet became a spy for the Union Army. She gathered intel, led raids, and helped liberate hundreds more, this time in uniform. She never lost a passenger, never backed down, and never gave in to fear. They called her Moses, not just for leading her people, but for showing the world what resistance looked like. Harriet Tubman wasn't just a conductor of freedom, she was a force of nature that slavery couldn't stop. She was hunted, not for escape, but for control. Harriet Jacobs was born into slavery in 1813. Her master didn't want her in the fields, he wanted to own her body. Relentlessly pursued, threatened, and harassed, Harriet refused to become his property in every way, so she vanished, into a crawl space. For 7 years, she hid in an attic barely 9 feet long and 3 feet high. No light, no heat, no freedom, just hope. She couldn't stand upright, could barely move. But from that space she watched her children grow, never revealing herself, never giving in. Eventually she escaped north. And she didn't stay silent. In 1861 she published Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, exposing the brutal truths of slavery from a woman's perspective, the abuse, the terror, and the resistance. Harriet Jacobs didn't just survive, she wrote herself into history, a mother, a fugitive, an abolitionist, and a voice that slavery could not silence. He was born into slavery, but refused to stay in chains. Robert Smalls was forced to work on the Confederate warship planner during the Civil War, learning every route, signal, and guard routine. Then, one foggy night in 1862, with the white officers ashore, he made his move. Wearing the captain's coat and hat, Smalls calmly steered the ship past 5 Confederate checkpoints, saluting like a pro, while his family and other enslaved crew members hid below deck. Once clear, he raised a white bedsheet as a surrender flag and delivered the planner, loaded with cannons and military secrets, straight to the Union Navy. He was 23 years old. Smalls didn't stop there. He went on to pilot Union warships, meet with President Lincoln, and become one of the first black men elected to U.S. Congress. Robert Smalls didn't just escape slavery, he outsmarted the Confederacy, and rewrote his destiny. He was born into slavery, but wait until you hear how he escaped. In 1849, at age 33, Henry Brown had seen too much. His wife and children sold off, his freedom always out of reach. So, he did the unthinkable. With the help of a friend, Henry built a crate, just big enough for one man. Armed with a single biscuit, a water flask, and an unwavering will, he mailed himself from Virginia to Philadelphia. Sealed tight, no air holes, no way out. Just 27 hours of silence, darkness, and hope. At one point the box was flipped upside down. He nearly passed out. But he stayed still. When the crate was finally opened, Henry stood up and said, "How do you do, gentlemen?" He became a free man, an abolitionist, and a stage magician, but he never forgot the box that delivered his freedom. They tried to break him. Instead, he broke the system, by packing himself up and shipping slavery out. Which story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments.